Alrighty, so all the second leg game of the quarterfinal of the CONCACAF Champions Cup involving MLS team is done, and I'll also look at the two games that happened yesterday. But overall, there was some good news, but mostly bad news in terms of MLS team in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. The good news is that at least we did have one MLS team able to make it to the semifinal and did some history too in order to get to it. But the bad news part or free space disappointment involving MLS team against Liga MX's opponent. I mean, on one game, it was kind of expected that of course, the case, but I don't think a lot of people thought that this was supposed to be the one. Inter Miami coming into this game against Rayados, a lot of people were saying that, well, Inter Miami probably got this because, they're probably going to get Messi back into this game, and they did, and they, of course, will get Suarez in this game as well, and with the way that both of those guys that have kind of looked unstoppable, at least in the beginning of the season. And when Messi has been healthy, this Miami team have definitely been able to do well and get wins while that is happening. But in this game, that was not the case. And really, there's two ways you can look at this game. You could either say that this was a game where Inter Miami completely melted down in the second half, or the fact that Miami just didn't show up, and we're just getting completely outplayed by a team that there's a reason why Rayados is ranked number one in the CONCACAF Champions Cup rankings. Now, in the first half, the game actually kicked off exactly at 7:30 p.m., which I was actually surprised that it actually kicked off on time. Usually all these CONCACAF Champions Cup game it kicked off about 5 minutes later. So I actually tuned into this game at 7:32, thinking that, well, I still have a couple of minutes before this game is happening, and then I didn't realize that 2 minutes already has gone by. So, good on the fact that CONCACAF decided to kick off the game exactly on time, and also because of the way that, this game kind of got out of hand and the referee decided to blow the final whistle at the 90th minute. I would also like to thank that, of course, is the case because at least I get to do this review a little bit early. I mean, it would be just such a CONCACAF thing if this game goes to extra time and I won't be able to do the review of this game and then the two other their games until very late into the evening. But yeah, the game of course kicked off exactly at 7:30 p.m. I missed the first 2 minutes. Really not much happened in the first 2 minutes, other than the fact that I can definitely see that there was problem with the pitch. I mean, everything about the occasion is good. I mean, the Riotos fans definitely showed up. I thought that there was going to be a lot of pink jersey inside the stadium, but no. I mean, yes, there were definitely some pink jersey, but most of the fans in the stadium were definitely rooting for Rayados, and yeah, Rayados fan every time when Messi touched the ball, they didn't actually cheer for him. They instead boo him menacingly, and that yeah, I mean again it was just an incredible atmosphere, also in an incredible stadium, a stadium that will be one of the venue that hosts the World Cup in 2026. But hopefully by then they'll fix the pitch problem because my goodness, it was not great whatsoever. I mean, that this game is a CONCACAF Champions Cup game or a game that's involving CONCACAF, the pitch is bad. And throughout the last couple of times when I see games taking place in Monterrey and especially that stadium, the pitch was perfectly fine. So again, I don't know, something must have happened to the pitch, or maybe they did that on purpose just to foil Messi and Miami there and kind of create that home field advantage. But man, it was definitely worn to a point where the ground crew had to come out to basically fix the divot. They did it only for the beginning of the game, and then for the rest of the game, they didn't really touch the pitch because you can't really send the ground crew every 2 or 3 minutes to fix the divot. That would just makes it very strange and just does not make the game feel like a professional CONCACAF Champions Cup game. Though that being said, Miami has all the possession as Rayados was elected to sit back and be compacted, and especially shutting down the middle too. They really did a good job, Rayados, shutting down the middle. This is also where I was just wondering why did Miami decide not to go on the flank and try to maybe look for the flank and try to cross the ball. I mean, you literally have one of the best crosser in the league in Julian Gressel. Why not give him the ball on the flank and basically put in some crosses in and see what happened, and even some low driven crosses as well? Because I mean, all you need to do is put in those dangerous chances to two of the best player in the world, and you could have a chance to maybe get something out of this game. And it feels like that's kind of a message that Rayados was trying to do. Rayados did exactly what I thought Miami should have done, which is, Rayados, they were mostly attacking the flank, and Miami had a lot of problem in terms of dealing, especially with those balls coming in to the box. Which again, is not a big surprise because this is a team that is struggle when it comes to that. Especially this is why they've been very bad in terms of set pieces. Anytime the ball comes into the box, it's just kind of like panic station for Inter Miami in terms of the defense. Counter denied Vasquez on the header in the 7 minute. That, of course, came all of a set pieces, which is where Miami fans always have to hold their breath because this team sucks in terms of defending set pieces. And then counter denied Betterame from long range. The shots were only 2-0 for Rayados early into this game. It is pretty clear that Rayados definitely came to play in this one. They start to also control the possession and started to look threatening, especially with those crosses coming into the box. And again, they were working the flank throughout this game. Messi would then puts it high from close range, but then in the 32nd minute, oh boy, it's deja vu all over again. And this maybe is a little bit of a spoiler of what I'll talk about in one of the other game where we saw exactly the same thing happen, where a goalkeeper decided to be too cute trying to dribble it in their own box, or in other words, I call that the Pedro Galese kind of thing because I'll never forget that the reason why I mentioned that is Galese was the first one this season to do something similar to that, and Timo Pukki of course capitalized on that. But yeah, here counter just trying to be a little bit too cute. Just decided to pass it straight to Brandon Vasquez, and yeah, that is it. That is just again a complete copy of the Schulte incident that I'll talk about in just a bit. And just like that, Monterrey has a 1-0 lead. Now, the good news for Miami is that nothing really changes because, they still need 2 goals in this one. And this is also where I'm kind of surprised they were not more aggressive early on. Like, that you need multiple goal, and that conceding 1 goal doesn't really mean anything. So why not? Why did they decide to not be more aggressive in the beginning of the game, and definitely sending more men forward than what we thought that they was gonna do throughout this game, and they of course never end up doing because they were just getting blown away in the second half. But in the 36-minute calendar, would tips it over the bar on a Meza shot as Rayados definitely had the momentum. I mean, they looked like they were on the ropes a little bit. But then Messi would hit it right to Andrada on the volley. That was probably the best chance that Messi has had throughout this game. Really did a good job in terms of shutting him down, Rayados. Before Suarez looked like he put the ball into the back net. The problem was the flag did not agree with him, and it was pretty obvious. I think everybody in the stadium, even the announcer, knew that of course was going to be offside, and indeed it is. And then on the other end, Meza would hit it set onto the back extension of the goal, and all of a sudden the game started to open up a little bit. It didn't really open up too much throughout this one, but it kind of became a little end-to-end action near the end of the half. We do have to have time with Rayados leading 1-0. Then that's when the second half happened, and whatever Tata Martino said to the team in the second half was pretty much heard by deaf ear, and whatever the Rayados head coach said at halftime, oh boy, you better believe that his team definitely started to came to play and started to put this game to bed, because in the 46th minute, Romo would puts it high from long range before Canales hits it right to counter. Again, nervy start early in the second half for Miami. They're giving up some both good chances that would continue. Romo then had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. So at this point, Miami still have yet to register a shot on goal. They would end up only registering 1 shot on goal for this entire game. Freire would almost score an own goal, but the post, of course, saved him. By the way, that only shots on goal would actually be the only goal that they would score in this one. There was a shout for a handball for Monterrey that was not given. Gallardo would hit it right to counter in the 56th minute, but then in the 59th minute, on the back of sustained pressure, Betterame scores. So he scored here to make it 2-0 in favor of Monterrey. I mean, I'm pretty sure Portland Timbers fans are thinking that, yeah, imagine if we actually had Betterame. I mean, I'm not saying that Capacita Rodriguez is bad or anything. I think he's done okay during his time with the Portland Timbers, but I'm pretty sure some Timbers fan would love to have Herman Betterame, and I think the reason why they weren't able to get the move done isn't because of the fact that they didn't want to pay that $15 million, but Betterame just simply said, "Hey, I'd rather stay in Liga MX and stay with Monterrey," and I don't blame him because he's joining a team that is winning a lot, a top tier team in Liga MX, and I'm not saying the Timbers is a bad team in MLS, but why would you decide to leave a team that you're so well loved in the fan base and you're winning a lot to come to MLS to join a team that, the Timbers are not bad, but they're definitely not an MLS Cup contender kind of team. And again, I even wrote that was coming. They have definitely been the better team, but this is when Monterrey really started to crank it up. Gresso would then miss a sitter in the back post. Look like this game is maybe done, as Miami just doesn't seem like they have it in them. Well, if it wasn't done before, it definitely was done in the 65th minute, as Gallardo would score from Betterame to make it 3-0 in favor of Monterrey. And yeah, this is done. Like, Miami is just pretty much down and out, and you can start to see the frustration in the body language of these players too, especially from Jordi Alba, because yeah, we then had some coming together between Alba and Meza. Alba definitely did something to Meza there that he did not appreciate. And then just a couple of minutes later, this is when Jordi Alba kind of lost his cool there. He gets his second yellow card after just a silly challenge there. And again, for a guy that has appeared in some of the biggest game in the world, like Jordi Alba with Barcelona, it is very surprised to see him lose his cool like that. Like, he, and along with a lot of these players that used to play for Barcelona, I wouldn't expect them to lose their cool that much. I mean, I get it. Yeah, yes, they're also competitive, and that they're probably very frustrated up to this point that they're 3-0 down, and this is something they don't usually experience too much during their time in Europe, and especially playing for Barcelona. But the fact that he lost the cool like that, I mean, yeah, just very very rare situation that you see that happening, and that, yeah, that just kind of complete a complete meltdown for Miami in the second half. Like, again, whatever Tata Martino said at halftime, I don't know what he said at halftime, but this Miami team looked like they didn't want to be there in the second half. They just completely destruct and allow Rayados to do whatever they want. And another thing that was interesting is that 85 minutes in, Miami still have yet to make a sub in this entire game. In fact, at the end of this game, I don't think they even made a single sub in this one. That's even more shocking too. I mean, with the way that it was pretty clear that this team needs some fresh leg, even going into the 60th minute mark, even when they were down 2-0. I would assume they would maybe bring in some fresh legs to do that. And I know their bench was a little bit short, but they have some good option there, and they even show I think at one point, even Benjamin Kamaski looks like he's back healthy and could be an option coming off the bench. Why not bring him off the bench? I mean, I know he's maybe not 100% healthy, but he'll definitely give you some more option on the attack, especially from what he has shown in the preseason before he went down with that injury. So yeah, again, very shocking to see that they didn't make a sub. They did get one back though in the 86th minute, as Gomez would get one back for Miami to make it 3-1, but it was more just a consolation goal. And Monterrey definitely did not appreciate of giving up that clean sheet, because they pressed immediately to try to get one back. Lopez would hit one right to counter as Miami continued to turn the ball away. That was a common theme. This one, Cortizo then curls it just wide from long range. Again, Monterrey, they're not done. They're looking to try to get a fourth one, trying to get their free goal advantage back. But in the end, they do advance to the next round. They, of course, are going to be facing the winner of the Tigres versus Columbus game, even though I know pretty much everybody know who won that one by the jersey that I'm wearing in this review. Yeah, we'll talk about that game next, but obviously, in the end, the shots in this one, 17 shots compared to 5 that Miami has. Yeah. Again, Monterrey just completely outplayed Miami off the park. 10 shots on goal for the 1 that Miami has. 1 shots off target for the 4 that Monterrey has. 3 shots that was blocked for the 1 that Miami has. And possession-wise, 60% possession compared to the 40% possession that Monterrey has in this game. And again, Miami didn't show up in this game. It's just simple as that, especially in the second half, where they just completely self-destructed, and that it also maybe it's just another combination to see how strong that Monterrey is, and that you know what, I'll just say it now, they're going to be playing against the Columbus Crew. And now let's talk about that other game, and maybe give some more positive note in terms of the fact that at least there's going to be one MLS team in the semifinal. And normally I switch the boards here, but I'm just gonna switch it manually because, well, the camera is still rolling, because I feel like I should do this more often so that I don't have to just kind of stop the recording and just kind of switched it as we go. So yeah, let's now talk about the positive and let's talk about the history that happened in yesterday game between Tigres and the Columbus Crew. So coming into this game, rarely anyone has been able to go to Volcan and able to get a result. Like literally the last MLS team that I remember that went to Volcan and able to get a resort and move on into the next round was that Toronto FC team that has the like of Javanko and all those great players. And even in that game, I think they lost that one, but they still were able to advance because they built up a pretty good push in heading into the second leg against Tigres. But we haven't had a situation where an MLS team has to get a win down in Mexico to move on into the next round very often. And we especially have never seen a team that is able to go down to Mexico to play against a Liga MX team and win a PK shootout against them. That all changed in this one between Tigres and Columbus. And I also would like to say that this was the Patrick Schulte redemption game because this was a game where Patrick Schulte had an absolute nightmare start to the game, and it happened in the third minute. And as I said about Drake Calendar, absolute horror moment against Monterrey. This was the deja vu moment that I was talked about. As in the third minute, Geniac would score to make it 1-0 in favor of Tigres, but he would love to thank Patrick Schulte for this because he decided to play out of the back. Patrick Schulte. Talk about how throughout the season, I don't get why goalkeeper decided to keep doing that because bad things always happen when you decide to do that. And guess what? He got pickpocket by Geniac. It was an easy goal there, and just like that, it was 1-0 in favor of Tigres. And I immediately said, looks like this one might be done because I don't know how Columbus can overcome come from just a disastrous start to this game, and especially for Patrick Schulte too. I thought this he was going to be in for a long night because I've seen this story before where goalkeepers made a bad mistake. I mean, just as New England fans of their goalkeeper making bad mistake and of how that of course went for them. It seems like this might be the case for Columbus where yeah, this could get ugly for Columbus and D Grace might have the confidence to maybe put two or three past Columbus in this game. And it definitely looked like that was the case in the 6th minute when Flores would put the ball into the back of the net. The only problem was that he was in an offside position, but yeah, Columbus, they're probably thanking for the offside flag and also maybe thanking for the VAR call because they did have to reverse it via VAR. And that, yeah, Columbus was completely rattled early. Again, this is why I said I thought this game was done. That Tigres was going to take full advantage with these early mistakes that Columbus were making. But to the crew credit, they eventually settle into this one and kind of start to settle down and try to put that howler that Schulte made early in the game behind them. Though the first shot for Columbus did see in the 60th minute, it saw Yaboa miss wide from long range before Cucho who puts it wide from close. In the 31st minute, Rodriguez would deny Yaboa after Tigres almost did the same thing they did in leg one, give the ball away at the back. And again, Columbus, good response for them. They started to create some good opportunity, some sustained pressure, something that Miami didn't do at all in tonight's game. And then in the 43rd minute, it looked like Gignac scores again, the second goal for Tigres and scores again. The problem was he was in an offside side position, and they once again go to VAR to see whether or not indeed that was offside, which it was the case. So yeah, it was still 1-0 in favor of Tigres, though I will say that Patrick Schulte again might be the most relieved man because he gave up a juicy rebound that sets up that chance. Again, Patrick Schulte, it was day and night in terms of how he performed in the first half compared to the rest of the game because he must have amnesia in the second half because what he did in the first half was the complete opposite of what he was about to do in the second half and in the PK shoot out as well. But after that, Bernetta would hit one right to Schulte. I thought Columbus desperately needed halftime. I mean, they definitely seems like they've been outplayed in the first half. The good news is they do get to halftime, only down 1-0. In the second half, Bernetta would miss wide from long range before Gignac would miss wide from long range as well. Tigres definitely was on the front foot as they were pressing for a second goal. Pizarro would then miss wide from close range. And again, this game in some way is kind of a little similar to the Miami game where the Liga MX opponent gets the better start in the second half. But unlike what we saw in the Miami game, where Miami just completely struck because of the sustained pressure. Columbus did. In fact, in the 59th minute, they would tie the game up. It's Diego Rossi. He scored from far seed to tie the game up at one apiece. I mean, if there's one guy that knows something about scoring some clutch goals, and some big goals in CONCACAF Champions Cup play against Liga MX's opponent, it's Diego Rossi. I mean, he's a guy that always comes up big in these games. Even going back to his LAFC day, where he of course scored that what would be the winning goal of the two-legged affair against Leon in that incredible comeback that LAFC had against Leon. But at that point, I also thought it was kind of completely against the run of play because Tigres were the better team up to that point. But all of a sudden, it was all tied up at one apiece. Angulo did look for a response, but he missed wide there before Flores would hit it right to Schulte in the 62nd minute. Tigres definitely had the momentum again. They were hungry to try to get the lead back, and this is where we're gonna really see the mentality that Columbus had. Because yes, while they of course had tied the score up in this one, and as resort stand, this game of course going to extra time, it doesn't mean that they're out of the woods yet. I mean, Tigres is definitely gonna try to fight back to try to get themselves the lead back. Gignac tried to do so, but he puts it high from close range. Volcan was definitely in full voice. Like they were trying to will their team to trying to get the lead back in this one. And then in the 69th minute, this is where we had some controversy, and this is kind of a moment to just kind of remind everybody why I've always say MLS team always get CONCACAF by Liga MX's opponent, because in this moment, Pizarro basically stepped on Yaboa intentionally while Yaboa was on the ground already. No yellow or red that is being shown. No VAR check is even being made in that moment. Yeah, that's just classic CONCACAF, isn't it? And I even wrote Columbus might have just got CONCACAF. Actually, I wouldn't say Columbus might have got CONCACAF. They absolutely got CONCACAF in that moment because that's a red card. Given that is a red card, but unfortunately in this competition, and even I know I haven't said this a lot because I've said that this year edition of the CONCACAF Champions Cup they did a good job at least for the most part in terms so these decision and VAR has been used very well throughout this competition, but this was definitely not one of those moments. They definitely missed that moment. So yeah, Tigre is probably very lucky that they of course get the man advantage and using that CONCACAF kind of home cooking to their advantage again, and once again see an MLS team getting screwed over by CONCACAF and the ref in this competition. Gignac then hits one right to Schulte in the 73rd minute before Hennis Stroza with a rare chance for Columbus, but he missed wide there. Cucho then missed it wide from close in the 86th minute, and Columbus definitely not only ride out the Tigres pressure late in the game, but now they look like they're trying to steal this one before we head to extra time. But unfortunately, they weren't able to do so, and indeed, we are going to go to extra time. But the home fans at Alvo they definitely were not happy that this gone to extra time. In fact, the boos were definitely raining down when the full time whistle what was sounding. I don't know if this is maybe them kind of realize that oh, it seems like we could be in for a very embarrassing moment ourselves in this game. But yeah, again, it feels like maybe that was get a little foreshadow of what we're about to see in this game because yeah, the Tigres fan they were not happy the fact that their team is not able to put away Columbus and had to play 30 minutes to settle this one in. So we go to extra time, and in the first half of extra time, Cucho would hits one right to Rodriguez. Not much chances really created in the first half of extra time. That's not a big surprise considering teams usually become a little complacent in the first half extra time. They don't want to give them an early goal and find themselves behind the eight ball. Though in the second half of extra time, we definitely saw more action. In fact, Columbus almost took the lead in the second half of extra time as Felipe almost scored an own goal there, and Rodriguez was able to deny it there to prevent an own goal. Armstead would then hits one that was blocked away as Columbus definitely they were at the upper hand in the early part of the second half of the extra time period. Though Cordova did hits one right to Schulte in the 160 minute. But yeah, we head to a PK shootout, and again coming into this game, MLS team has never beaten a Liga MX team in a PK shootout in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, or even going back to when this competition was called the CONCACAF Champions League. So how will Columbus deal with this and with the back against their wall and maybe trying to make some history? Well, it got off to a great start because Gignac was denied by Schulte in round one. I mean, that is as rare as it gets in terms of seeing Andre Pierginiak miss a penalty. He does not miss a lot of penalty, but Schulte just making amends for that, and then he makes amends even more by denying Pizarro in round number two. And this is where you start to sense that, oh boy, maybe history is going to happen. I mean, I know I don't want to be too optimistic because I've seen MLS team have somehow find a way to choke away, make an advantage in PK show, even though they have Liga MX team on the edge. But I had a feeling that something maybe different is, and I think that crowd at Volcan even notes it because you can definitely see. I mean, they were definitely trying to make as much noise as possible whenever an MLS team steps up, but you can definitely sense some nervy energy that this could be a historic night, but for an MLS team, but maybe an embarrassing night in our club history. In fact, as we go into the PK shootout, Kucher actually had a chance to win the PK show for Columbus, but he missed there, and this is of course where I kind of start having a little doubt the fact that is an MLS team about to choke away a prime opportunity? And when Max Armstrong steps up to the spot, I mean, I didn't think Max Armstrong was gonna coolly put it away. I mean, this is a guy that rarely gets minutes for Columbus, and of course playing a lot in the MLS Next Pro. But guess what? He steps up and wins the penalty. I mean, should we say that not only MLS won this game against the MX's opponent, but maybe even a shout out to MLS Next Pro too? I mean, Patrick Schulte, Max Arfson, longtime MLS Next Pro veteran, and that just kind of shows you that as much as MLS Next Pro, I know there are problems in terms of that league, but it's definitely a league that provides some really good hidden gem challenge or hidden gem kind of thing, and we're seeing it in this game as Max Arfson, of course, converts the winning penalty, and that is history as Columbus, the first MLS team to ever win a PK shootout against a Liga MX opponent. They move on into the next round where they face the other Monterrey team, that is Rayados. And the shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 11 that Columbus had, 3 shots on goal compared to 7 that Tigres had. Both teams had 5 shots off target, 3 shots off block compared to 1 that Tigres had, and possession-wise, 50 more percent possession compared to 46% possession that Tigres has in this game. And I know some people may maybe be saying that, well, Columbus got lucky probably in this game against Tigres. I don't think so. I think Columbus deserved to win this game. This was kind of a combination of just Tigres not showing their clinical finishing, which is something we usually don't see Tigres do a lot. But it also kind of just shows you the determination and the belief and resiliency of this Columbus team under Wilfred Nancy. There is a reason why Wilfred Nancy, I think, in my opinion, right now is the best head coach in MLS right now, and he's shown it in this game, going down to Mexico, going down to probably the toughest place to play in a CONCACAF Champions Cup game that known as Volcan, and to walk away with a resort and make history like that. I mean, something tells me Columbus and Monterrey. I know Monterrey's going to be heavy favorites coming into that one. Do not write off Columbus. They're going to be up for the challenge both in their home leg game against Monterrey and then the away leg game against Monterrey as well. But now moving on into the last game we're going to talk about, and let's actually just talk about this game relatively quick because let's be honest, we knew this game was pretty much over from the first leg, and this is also kind of the reason why I didn't really watch this game or pay too much attention to this game because one, well, this game was in the first half. This game was still in extra time, so I still were paying a lot of attention to this game and not paying too much attention to this one. But also, by the time this PK show is finished, and by the time we get to the second half, I mean the game was already long done. So let's just do a quick recap in terms of talk about this game between Club America versus New England, and I think Revs fans are probably happy the fact that I'm just doing a relatively quick recap about this because this is kind of when as well as you expect it was going to be between one of the best team in Liga MX and playing against literally the worst team right now in MLS. Now, in the first half, pretty much a reserve squad for the Rams, knowing that they don't really have much to play. Actually, I take back of what I said about New England being the worst team in MLS. They technically isn't in terms of points. They did get a win recently to get to four points, but let's be honest, they're still considered to be one of the worst team in in MLS right now. Quinones then hits it wide from long range, like the first leg. America had all the possession. Zendejas would hit one right to Edward Jr. And then in the 21st minute, Valdez would score to make it 1-0 in favor of Club America. They did check to see if Valdez handballed that one when he was chested down, which VAR says no. Zendejas then looked for a second, but it goes wide. 30 minutes in, Revs still had 0 shots on goal. Keep in mind, the Revs were playing a bit of a reserve squad, if I haven't said earlier, because, knowing the fact that they don't really have much to play for, you might as well just kind of give the kids a chance and see what they can do in this one. Edward Jr. then denied Quinones from close range, but Quinones was not denied in the 33rd minute as he scored here from Valdez to make it get 2-0 in favor of Club America. They started to show a split screen action of the Tigres versus Colombia PK shootout that I noticed. I mean, I really they didn't need that because I was still watching this game heavily, but it's good to see that they, of course, did a little split screen action as well. The first shot for the Revs did see Wood hits one right to Malagon, and then in the 4th minute stoppage time, Club America will make it 3-0. It's Henry Martins. He scored from Fuentes to make it 3-0 in favor of Club America. And it's safe to say that, in the last game, Edward Jr. had some howlers against Club America. He had one again in this one. I mean, I would say this is even worse than the two howlers that he committed in the last game. I mean, this one was literally hit right toward him. All he had to do is catch it, and somehow he just kind of let that one slip out as a finger, and it goes into the back of net. You know what that kind of reminds me? That kind of reminds me back, I think it was 2017, when the Galaxy still had Clement Diop as the goalkeeper, and I forgot which team uh that the Galaxy play. I think it was Vancouver that they play. I remember there was that one moment when Clement Diop was just a really bad goalkeeper for the Galaxy, and then he let in a shot where he basically tried to catch it, and he just not only didn't do so, but he kind of punched that one into his own net, and that is regarded as one of the worst goal you ever see a goalkeeper concede. I would argue this one is right up there as well because yeah, again, this was not a great goal. Like in terms of the worst goal to concede by an MLS team, I would say between this one and the Amr Tariq own goal that we saw last year as among some of the craziest uh goal to concede and not in a good way. I would say the Amr Tariq one is still probably the worst I have seen, but this one's not far behind, especially in terms of goalkeeping gap that it is. And again, it's pretty clear that Edward Jr. is not the answer between the stake for the Revs. And something tells me, if Henrik Ravis doesn't continue to live up to his potential, the Revs might be thinking about going back to the goalkeeping market as soon as the summer transfer window. But we do head to halftime with the score 3-0 in favor of Club America, and that's what 7-0 in terms of the aggregate score. The Revs decided to sub in some starters despite their 7-0 down aggregate. I have no idea why Caleb Porter, of course, decided to do that. Rodriguez then missed wide from close range before it was 4-0 for Club America as Zendejas would score from Quinones to make it 4-0 in favor of Club America. Maligan then denied McNamara from long range, but then in the 65th minute, and at least maybe a little positive for New England, Veroni did score from Ismair to make it 4-1 in this one. So I know that doesn't really mean a lot, but it still definitely means a lot for Giacomo Veroni, the fact that he's able to score not only once but twice in this one, and that if there is maybe just a slight positive, New England fans are hoping that Veroni scoring in this game means that he can translate that into league play as well. They really need him to do so. So if he's not going to become one of the best, one of the worst DP and one of the biggest bust DP signing that we have seen in the league recent years. And of course that one actually hits the post there, but it just crossed the line there to go in to make it 4-1 in this one. However, just 10 minutes later, America would get one back as a penalty was given after Mark MDK handballed in the box, and VAR, of course, deemed that that is the case. So Brian Rodriguez steps up to take the penalty, and he buries it to make it 5-1 in this game, and overall 9-1 in terms of the aggregate score. Heel then missed just wide from the free kick. I was very surprised to see Carlos Heel in this game. And again, that's when I wasn't really paying too much attention to the game when I kind of lost track of where the substitution is because again, this game was just way out of hand. There was really no need for me to pay too much attention to this game. But what I was kind of surprised to see in Carlos Heel in this game. I mean, in a game that is kind of meaningless, why do you decide to put your best player in this game? It was almost 6-1 then, as Rodriguez looks like he scored his second goal of the game, but VAR, of course, disallowed that goal for offside. The Revs does get another one back, and Giacomo Veroni would score again from Ismair to make it 5-2 in this one. But yeah, that's pretty much as close that New England would get in this game. As in the end, they lose 5-2 in this one, 9-2 in aggregate score. And I would also say that if there's one maybe kind of just some sugarcoat silver line for New England is this one. This is not the worst aggregate score that I've seen in recent years that MLS team faced against Liga MX team over 2 legs. Remember, there was a couple of years ago when Sporting KC played against Monterrey and they lost like 10-2 on aggregate, and that I think is considered one of the worst aggregate score that MLS team had against the Liga MX team. So yeah, at least maybe New England will say that yeah, as embarrassing as this was, at least we didn't play as bad as the aggregate score says in that game between Sporting KC and Monterrey. But still, that's not really much to show for as in the end. Again, this two-legged affair, you might as well just kind of say. I feel like New England probably should just forfeit the second leg and don't even bother showing up up to Mexico City for this game because it was pretty obvious that they were going to get absolutely dominated in this one, and it was the case again. Shots in this one, 16 shots for the 9 that New England has. Both teams had 7 shots on goal, 8 shots off target for the 1 that New England has. Both teams had 1 shot that was blocked, and possession-wise, 66% possession compared to 34% possession that New England has in this game. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of my review of these 3 games. Obviously, actually, this video has gone a little longer than I anticipated because, I had to talk a little extra about this game being on extra time, and then I did give a little bit of an in-depth kind of detail in terms of the Inter Miami versus a Monterrey game. But again, the good news is that at least we'll have one team in the semifinal. Again, there was fear that heading into the second leg that no MLS team was going to make it to the semifinal. Fortunately, that of course is not the case. We'll at least have Columbus being the lone representative, and well, I don't know if they can overcome Monterrey. I mean, I still think Monterrey is going to be heavy favorites in this one, and they maybe could be the team that I think could win it because I think out of the 3 Liga MX team that's remaining in this competition, Monterrey is definitely the strongest side. And this is no disrespect to Club America or even any Club America fans watching this, or even Pachuca fans watching this too. I mean, I know Pachuca put a pretty big beat down against Heredino, but let's be honest. Monterrey is a really strong team, and right now they're a team that is at the top of the CONCACAF rankings for a reason, and they've been strong in league play as well. Again, I just think that you could maybe even say that in that game between Columbus and Monterrey, whoever wins that one maybe will win this competition outright. And I know it might be early to say, especially if Columbus win, because they'll make it to the final. This will be 4 straight years. Then MLS team make it to the final of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But still, those are 2 heavyweights that's gonna go down each other, and I'm very interested to see how it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout like what we saw between Miami and Monterrey. I think it could be very similar to what we saw between Cincy and Monterrey, where it's hard to believe, but people forget that Cincy actually did give a fight to Monterrey. I mean, I know eventually, they kind of gave up near the end, but for a while they really put up a good fight against Monterrey, and I think Columbus is going to do the same thing again. Now, whether if they're going to win it or not, who knows? But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.